Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Moohead Radio Cleveland Browns halftime report with the score Cleveland 20-12. How's that for a salvage by the Ravens? And you know where the second half is going, don't you? We'll talk about this a little bit. If you want to comment on what's going on with the game, the chat page is up. Just a little chat on the side of the player at mooheadradio.com if you have any comments that you want to make. I'm more than happy to respond to those comments. I almost missed the game. I was at an emergency clinic. I've got this sinus infection that has turned into an ear infection. Real pain in the ass. Hi to Jeff and Bama, Kahuna Bone, Butt Cheeks Glenn. Hey, Butt Cheeks Glenn. Big Lurker UK, KJQ. Goosey, hello, Perrysburg guy, General Dog, and have other people watching along the line. How is everybody doing? Well, the Browns got off to a tremendous start, and my feeling about what I'm watching here is that the first thing that came into my mind, seriously, was the Brady Quinn game against the Detroit Lions. Do you remember that one where the Browns got off to that incredibly fast start and Brady Quinn was whipping bombs all over the field? And, of course, at the end, the Browns gave Matthew Stafford the timeout he needed, and they ended up winning the game at the end, and the Browns lost like they always do. That's the same feeling I got at the beginning of this game. Kind of one of these things where, God almighty, this can't go on. And then as soon as it hit 20-0 and they blocked the kick, and ran it back, you knew it's like the worm had turned. The other thing is McCown is clearly not okay. He's a tough guy, and you don't want to see Cody Kessler in the game. That's for doggone sure. But he's a tough guy. But his arm is hanging a lot like RG3's arm was hanging, and you hate to see a guy unable to lift that arm. He might have a minor separation in that left shoulder. He did get driven into the ground on the tackle, and that's not a good thing. And it's like I said last week, McCown's the quarterback for as long as he lasts. I gave him 3 or 4 weeks. Now it may only be 1. You just don't know. But since he came back from that injury, the offense hasn't looked the same. I've watched him drop back, and even in his set, his arm is down. His mechanics are going to be off. It's going to be a very hard second half for the Cleveland Browns, who really played the best that they could possibly play in the beginning of the game. Let's look at the good news first. I mean, the good news is that Isaiah Crowell kind of looks like the same running back we saw a couple of years ago, and that's a good thing. Hey, Papa Burl, how you doing in the chat room? That's good news. Hey! Look at it, it's DG in the chat room. Long time no hear from. Crowell with an 85-yard run and a beautifully blocked play. But not just that, in the other runs, he's showing some of that shiftiness and that ability to run low. That running low enables him to get a few extra yards. My people, right? But that's something you need from your running back. That's one thing Crowell had a couple of years ago, was that he always seemed to be falling forward, and he'd always get the extra 2 yards just on the lean, and we're starting to see that again, and that's good news. There's other good news here, too. Kind of like William Green's run against the Falcons. Run, William, run, remember? That's what Crowell's run was like. The other good news, I'm seeing them playing hard. The team is playing hard. It's great to see Corey Coleman get into the swing of things. And, you give him a little open field, and he's going to hurt you. And when Josh Gordon comes back along with Pryor, it's going to be a problem for defensive secondaries. And that could make for an explosive situation, assuming you had a quarterback who could get the ball to these people. Immediately, you saw in the beginning of this game the difference between a professional quarterback and RG3, who didn't know what in the fuck he was doing in the offense. And look, this is what I said about offenses can look completely different when different quarterbacks are playing. And the reason is because the quarterback sees something different. And if you're not looking at the middle of the field or you're not doing your progressions, you're not seeing people who break open on the field. My opinion is that RG3 was not looking at the middle of the field. You can see how the ball is being moved around by Josh McCown to different receivers, to running backs, and they can move the football that way. But Corey Coleman, he barely, if he did get the second foot down, but that's a great start. And then getting that little elusive shake and bake into the end zone, a very good start for a young receiver who's going to be even more dangerous when Josh Gordon gets there. I think that's going to be, he's explosively fast. Somebody's going to have to be single covered when that trio gets together, and pity the secondaries who have to deal with that. I agree. RG3, General Dog, is never going to start again. RG3 is never going to play for the Cleveland Browns again. You mark my words. There's no reason. It was a gamble, and obviously it makes all the difference in the world who's running this particular offense. So what can I tell you? Other good news. Well, I can tell you some things that maybe are not the best news in the world. The Browns defense against the run, for the most part, has stopped the Ravens, who I don't think have a particularly strong running game. Forsett is not Dorsett, and even though it's close, and the ability and skill level is not close. So we've done a good job with that. But we're not getting pressure on the quarterback. And, the initial pick by Hayden was something that he read the quarterback's eyes because Flacco stared down his receiver. There should have been a second interception by Hayden on a ball over the shoulder. But other than that, the disaster that I see week to week is, our guys, Tramon Williams, who's terrible in the nickel, and Taylor, who's terrible as a defensive back. And to tell you the truth, those were the two guys who were fighting over the cornerback position in the beginning of preseason, and neither of them are any good. And we have a problem. We're not able to cover the tight end, and Pitt is just catching the ball at will. It is a problem. And the Browns secondary is shown up every time the Browns choose to rush 3 and drop 8. The coverage is still not solid, and without pressure on him, Flacco's got the arm strength to get the ball and slingshot it to anybody. With pressure on him, Flacco is not the most agile-footed guy. You see what happens when he throws off his back foot. I say this every year we play him, but we can't consistently get pressure. The other thing is that Ray Horton's schemes are just, I don't know what you do. You blitz, and then he just calls an out pattern and the cushion's 5 yards, or you drop back 8 guys with 3 rushing, and Flacco just stands there like a statue and picks out whoever he wants in the middle of the field because the guys just can't, play together. The defense is not synced as far as the covering the zones. It's just, Kindred made a nice little break on a ball, almost got an interception on a tip pass. At least his head was up and he was looking for the ball, which is more than I can say for Tramon Williams, who also fumbled a punt return. Why he's back there, I have no damn idea. Tramon Williams is washed and shouldn't be out on the field. He's not playing particularly well. Another mistake by Cameron Irving, and you saw the displeasure by Hugh Jackson. This goes on week to week. He's not going to have a job for long, folks. And you just can't make on a 3rd and 2. It's an important play to keep possession. You cannot fuck up the snap and get a procedure call against your team. And I don't want to see big number 74 shaking his head with negative body language. I don't want to see that. I want to see a center who can actually play. And right now, I'm not seeing that consistently. Danny Shelton is pushing the line and doing a nice job against the run. Ogba's doing a nice job. Nassib was held on one play clearly that was not called when he was rushing the quarterback. Well, what can I tell you? The Browns defense has something to be desired. It's not going to win them very many games. Problem in the second half, as I see it, is you've got a quarterback. And why are you calling an option play with a quarterback with an injured shoulder? Somebody needs to see if Hugh Jackson, if there's a screw loose up there. I don't understand how in the hell that play got called. The problem we're going to face in the second half is that the quarterback doesn't look right. And, here's the question, and it's the $64,000 question. It's the one that you have to answer in the chat room if you're the head coach. Do you continue to play McCown because you want to see if you can win a football game with an injured quarterback, or do you sit him down and get him treatment so he can play the next game? If you put him in the second half, one good hit, and he might be gone for a prolonged period of time. If you pull him, you're giving up the game. You're giving up the game because Kessler is not ready to play at the pro level. So what would you do? Ask yourself this in the chat room. Would you give your 37-year-old a chance to heal, or do you just figure he's so brittle anyway he's going to get hurt in the next game and let the rookie come in? And Perrysburg guy says Kessler is coming regardless. I don't know, what I would do. I'm concerned when my quarterback can't lift his arm in his throwing mechanics to get that arm up, to get that ball up over his shoulder. He's keeping that arm down. He's hurt, and he's considerably hurt. Tony's saying he'd play Kessler. And I agree that the problem with this is that they will definitely turn into a check down team, and there won't be anything for first downs. It's going to be giving the game to Baltimore by doing it. I don't know. General Dog says, I don't care about winning this season anyway. Hell, it hurts our draft position anyway. Go ahead, put Kessler in. Keep McCown upright, says Butt Cheeks Glenn. So I don't know. If it were me, I suppose if I saw that my quarterback could not lift his arm, and after the halftime break, you know how pain sets in. When you got adrenaline going, the injury hurts worse. But then when you come out and you sit for 15 minutes at the half, all of a sudden everything tightens up. If that's a problem, then you got to play Kessler. And I don't know that Kessler took any reps whatsoever to speak of during the course of the week. And that's going to force you into the restricted playbook, which means the check down pass. They're going to come in and just blitz everybody at the line. It's going to be a real tough second half. But the good news in all of this, folks, is that the Cleveland Browns showed that on their home field, they can actually come out and be ready to play football, which is great. And, that they got off to a quick lead that I think we all knew was kind of fool's gold that wasn't going to last forever. But, I would just like to see Corey Coleman returning punts. Let's get somebody fast in there who can help us out. I see the start of the third quarter is ready to begin. So everybody, thanks a lot for supporting this halftime show. Last week's halftime show got over 80 views. The postgame show over 160 views. We'll be back after the football game to talk about what happened in the second half of the Browns-Ravens game. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you right after the game. Until then, go Browns. It's second halftime. Bye-bye now.